Welcome to That Business Show 2.0. I am your host, Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business. Today we're going to be talking about security for your business, IT security. Managed service provider Robert Hessel is with me today, CEO, president, and engineer, and founder, Source One Solutions. Learn more throughout the discussion at sourceonesecurity.com. So Robert, welcome to the program today.
Hey, thanks for having us.
So first off, just give me the broad overview about what Source One does.
Source One's an IT services organization, which of course can mean many things. Locally, we're probably most recognized for providing commercial security systems to businesses that have at least 50 or more employees or multiple locations.
Okay, so founded just 6 years ago, and you are an international company now with a lot of major clients. Talk to me a little about your reach.
We are. We provide services in 96 countries. We have an office in Reading, which is just outside of London in the UK. So we have an entity here and an entity that can trade over in the UK as well for our clients.
Right, incredible. In such a competitive space, everybody is involved in tech or IT, or I want to say everybody does, but that's a very crowded space. So how did you develop in just a span of 6 years to reaching 96 countries? How do you do that?
A lot of plane travel, unfortunately, but no, you have to develop very good partnerships in those regions. So we have very high-level engineers that work in our network operations center, and then we use local third-party relationships that we've developed over the course of 6 years to help us with on-site elements.
A lot of people are just going to focus on their own little markets with managed services. Is overseas an opportunity for managed service providers, or is that just you just had the right connections and made the right partnerships?
It is. I'm a little bit of luck. You've got to make some of the right connections, but that is really what our value proposition is anybody can do business in North America. It's a very easy place, but doing business in Latin America and in 96 countries is very difficult. So when we can help our clients, because we do a lot of work with other IT providers, we help them extend their reach by being able to reach some of these.
And that's an advantage of your industry. It doesn't matter where you're at or where your client is at. I mean, the internet makes it possible to service your clients from wherever that you're at.
That's right.
So 6 years ago, what was your background? Were you working in IT solutions? Did you have another company? How did you become Source One founder?
Yeah, I've been in technology since I was about 23 years old. So. It's 20 years now. Worked my way up through some other companies. Was a partner in a firm for a while, and ended up 6 years ago starting Source One Solutions, moving on our own with a bigger focus on providing services, not selling hardware, which is what my experience was with my other company.
So define for me what you do for a client. We use the term managed services. You're the person who's really protecting my data at my business, correct? Making sure that I don't get those viruses, or when I do, you can help me with the backups. Take me through the different services that you provide.
That is part of the offering, is providing virus protection, providing all your updates, doing help desk support. So if you don't have IT staff, or you don't want to have an IT staff, we act as that for you. So when you call into the help desk, we answer the phone, we act as your IT department.
Do you also help with just general software applications like Windows and Google? And
we do. That's part of it. Software applications, Windows, Microsoft is a big part of our portfolio.
So that's a challenge I have. I've always wondered, I have a problem with some Microsoft program or some Google. I don't know. There's not an 800 number to call like you can for a product. So they make it so difficult. They usually try to direct you to some platform, or what is that, a chat room or something to post your question.
Yeah, that drives me crazy. The pop-ups.
The forums or something.
Yeah,
right.
Pop-ups always happening. Yeah, so that's pretty much what the majority of the day, the most frequent things we get is password resets. People forget their passwords all the time, or they're having.
Do they still have to call but for that? Isn't there just the forgot password link? They still have to call?
No, they still have to get into some of their software.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can't just reset it automatically. So they have to call the help desk, and we have to reset it for them.
Okay. All right. So how did you found the company? You're working in technology. You stepped out on your own. How did you make those first few relationships? That's the struggle of any business, that credibility, and then that getting those first few clients to get you off the ground.
It is a struggle. Coming from the industry for a long period of time, I had past relationships. I'd always treated my people and our clients very well. So I think that was, we got a lucky break here and there along the way, and got some marquee accounts under our belt, and it just kind of spread from there. But there were a lot of them were past relationships that I knew, or knew people that could get us in the door.
I mean, locally here in Tampa Bay, you're with the Lightning, providing services for them?
We are. We provide services to the Lightning. They're a great client for us. Another recognizable client is the Florida Aquarium, who we've been doing business with for quite a while. The Dolly Museum, and a host of other clients here locally in Tampa Bay.
Who was that first big client that you got in the door with, and was it because of a referral from a connected partner? How did you make that first big client connection?
Our first big good client was actually a referral, and that's what got us into the international game. When I started the company, I didn't really think that we'd become an international company, and I was asked to do something, and I said yes. Didn't know really what I was getting into, and it worked out. And I saw that there was a good opportunity to be able to do a lot of international business by, as we said, extending that reach for companies that cannot do it.
Now, right now, the internet it's open, it's unregulated. You hear a lot about the managing the internet, and how will that affect other countries and your business if the free internet, or that I forget the term that I'm looking for right now, comes into practice. How will your business be impacted if the internet becomes more regulated?
Well, I think if the internet's regulated to keep people from doing bad things, that's always a good thing, because we know there's a lot of problems now. But it would certainly impact our business if we couldn't use the internet. I mean, that's how we make a lot of our connections, being able to research companies and find out from job boards who technicians are in the area, or engineers.
How is it different in other countries right now? Is bandwidth quality different? Is regulation an impact in these different countries?
Sure, regulations are impactful, especially when it comes to moving parts and pieces around the world. You've got importer of record problems that you have to have and deal with. But also, that does make our job challenging at times, as we'll get on to a customer site, a large enterprise that you would think would have great connectivity, but in those parts of the world, you don't have great connectivity, so it makes servicing them a little bit more difficult.
And in some countries, the internet is still regulated, like China, of course, North Korea, which everything's regulated in. But I mean, are you in these types of countries where you have to deal with this heavy regulation from government?
Yes, we do stuff through Asia, and it is regulated in China. I think most of your communist countries are regulating the internet. We do more service in China than we do in Russia, so I can't speak to Russia as much, but we don't have a real problem in doing what we need to do in China.
Are they beginning to open up their resources for the internet for their population, or is it still all being hidden behind the communist wall?
It's very much regulated. They choose what their people can see and what they can get to, and they definitely have a way of putting their own spin on things if they want to, yeah.
Fascinating area, just the politics things of, how you control the people. I'm just interested in that, but that's beyond the scope of, what I want to talk about with you today. Now, you've also written a book that's due out here pretty soon. Let's talk about your book.
I did. I wrote a book called Safe City. It's been published by Morgan James. It will be released April 2018, the second Tuesday of April. I don't remember the exact date that is, but it's the second Tuesday of April. The reason I wrote it is there's so many bad things happening all around us. It's really changed how people are going about their daily lives. People are maybe not going to concerts that they would have went to before because they're living in a bit of fear. So I wanted to write a behind-the-scenes look in all that goes into making a city safe. So it's a very positive book. I did lots of interviews with SWAT officers, with large venue hosts, to give an inside look of all the planning that goes on and show people how safe of a community that Tampa is, also how safe all the cities in the United States are.
So I wouldn't correlate your business with making a city safe. I think of making a business safe. So how do your managed services carry over into city? Do you have government clients as well?
We do have government clients, but one of the lines of business that we're in is we provide commercial security systems. So we do keep businesses safe, but it's everybody's responsibility to create a safe city. It's not just the law enforcement, it's the folks that live in a neighborhood. If you see something that's wrong, report it. The police will be the first ones to tell you. They'd rather go investigate something that you thought didn't look right and have it be nothing than have it actually be something.
So your business today in 96 different countries, where are the opportunities in managed services? This is an ever-evolving industry. How developed or how much more depth can you add to a business such as your Source One managed services?
So I think the biggest piece that we add to our clients is that we have spares in all these different countries. So if network hardware breaks, we can arrive either the next day or in 4 hours, depending upon what they've contracted us to do, to replace that hardware and get them back up and running. And I think our biggest opportunity right now, actually, it's not just in the managed service space, but it's in wireless. Everybody's going to mobile devices, and everything is mobile now. So we're doing a lot of wireless throughout the globe.
Is the security on mobile the same as it is on desktop and server applications?
It's not. Your mobile device, I think, is a little bit more vulnerable if you're not careful. I'm not an engineer, even though you said that in the oncoming part, but our engineers would speak highly, are more in depth than that. But that would not be my strong suit to answer. But I think your mobile device is actually something that can be attacked.
What about the viruses? Is that going to continue to be a service for managed service providers? Because like the new operating system, Windows 10, has come out with its own virus platform. Is the need for external virus protection still necessary in today's market?
I think it is, and we were just talking about the viruses. I mean, there's some bad viruses out there right now. The ransomware that's taking everybody's data and hijacking it. The problem with those viruses are the virus protection, either through Microsoft or third party, doesn't really pick that up because it's an invite type of a virus. You actually have to click on like an attachment or a link to actually invite.
So simply
that
opening an
person.
email isn't going to expose you to the ransomware. It's opening up the PDF or the .zip file. Is there a certain type of file that is most likely impacted? Is it the PDF? Is it the zip file? What is it?
I think we're seeing mostly right now is the PDF, and I think that there's a misconception that it's got to be a link that you click to get a virus. It's not, and a PDF is even not safe. So if you receive an email, even from somebody that you know, if I get an email from you, Jamie, but I'm not expecting it, I might give you a call before I open that email just to be safe.
Wow, it's that serious out there.
It's that serious.
Well, we've heard a lot of horror stories, and one just a couple weeks ago about a recent ransomware attack that impacted the entire globe. And I was going to ask you if that type of stuff keeps you up at night. Do you worry about when those things hit the news, like, oh no, my phone's going to be ringing for days now?
A little bit of both. Sometimes I look at it and say, oh no, my phone's going to be ringing for days. Other times I look at it and go, maybe we should call them,
right?
Because it's opportunity.
Well, give them a call, 888-473-4260. Again, 888-473-4260. SourceOneSecurity.com for managed services wherever you're at on the globe in 96 countries based here in Tampa, Florida. Going to take a break. Coming back from the break, though, we'll go into some depth on what it means to provide services to businesses and ways to protect your business from these different security threats on That Business Show 2.0 with your host, Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business.
Hi, welcome to Yeager's. We just want to take a minute and show you what we're all about. At Yeager's, our primary business is hardwood flooring, although we are remodelers for kitchen, bath, and general construction. We operate a fleet of shop-at-home vans that have all the flooring type products, hardwood flooring, laminate flooring, tiles, stone, what have you. So we're able to come out first with products in our vehicles and take a look at the setting, how the colors will work, and then to be able to come up with some options and ideas for you. If that's not good enough, we have a large distribution center that we inventory product and have a nice display area.
Welcome back to the all-new That Business Show 2.0 with your host, Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business. New episodes each weekday morning, 9 a.m. on thatbusinessnetwork.com, and find us available on iTunes and on YouTube. My guest today, Robert Hessel, CEO and President of Source One Solutions, managed service provider in 96 different countries, and including and based here in Tampa Bay. So, Robert, as a business owner, what are some of the just basics that I should be aware of when I set up, a server and a network? Take me through some of the basic steps, and then how you can come in and help elevate me to that next protection level.
Well, first of all, I guess my biggest advice is to make sure that you're actually getting a good qualified company. There are a lot of people trying to get into the managed services business or the IT services business, however you want to refer to it, that are really not qualified to provide a lot of the services that they're trying to do. We do a lot of come behind other companies cleanup work, so that's my first bit of advice. Mm-hmm. Get with a good company with the right credentials, the right references before making a decision.
How much stuff should be on the cloud versus hosted locally? You're seeing more and more applications, and here in the future, desktop may be cloud-based. I mean, we don't even have desktop-based programs anymore. How prevalent and how much should everything be in the cloud?
Well, there's certain applications that absolutely make sense for an enterprise to take to the cloud. There's other applications that just won't make sense to take to the cloud.
Such as, what would I not want to take to the cloud? I've always wondered, I guess email. Is email cloud-based now, and I have Outlook on my computer? That was something I struggled with in the last several years now as Outlook or Office 365 has come out. It's made it more convenient, but I can remember using Outlook, and then I would be on one computer, and then if I was on another computer, then I started to learn about the IMAP and all those types of things. But that was something I struggled with early in business.
Yeah, I think Office 365 has got a great product. We use it in our own business, and we also sell a lot of it to our clients. So I think it's a great product to have in the cloud. For a lot of different reasons. We just talked about ransomware attacking your network. If it's off in the cloud, those services are being backed up for you automatically. So that makes sense to have something like that.
It's nice because then when you go to computer, your files are there, your emails are there, and up until Office 365, unless I was using an IMAP feature, which I didn't like, I always like to use the POP feature for different reasons. But I would go to computer. My emails weren't synced. That was one of my early challenges in business. But Office 365 has made that much more. And actually, I'm on an Exchange server now. Talk to me about Exchange servers, for instance, for email.
Office 365 is Exchange.
Okay.
So that it's providing an affordable way for a smaller business to be on Exchange for sure, because setting up an Exchange server requires a lot of support from an IT infrastructure standpoint, and it's a pretty expensive investment because you need to have a backup server.
Yeah, and that's something I just got set up on within this last probably 6 to 8 months or so. What is an Exchange server, and how does that differ from the traditional POP and the IMAP settings?
Well, I'm not really the guy that's going to answer that best. One of our engineers can probably answer that. I'm not as technical. An Exchange server and IMAP, I know they function in a different way to get the emails through faster or something. I'm just really not.
It made a big difference because for me, I was getting a lot of emails being blocked and going into spam.
Sure.
And so when I went to that Exchange server, it made a big difference in the email deliverability. And so definitely I can recommend that to some of the people out there that are having email deliverability problems. One of the things that plagued me in business, and still plagues me to some degree, but email deliverability definitely was one of the issues here. So
I think even with Exchange, you can turn that up or turn it down too, so you can increase your filters so that it catches more and make it real strict, or you can kind of soften it up so it doesn't catch as much junk.
How do you keep your employees then from causing problems within your network? I mean, there's nothing you can do, I guess, when they get an email with an attachment, right? Is there any programs or any things you can put into place that makes them go through some type of filter before they open an attachment, for instance?
No, unfortunately, not that I'm aware of. And even in our business, where we're a technology company, we're constantly training our people that if you receiving an email and you're not expecting it and it's got an attachment, just take a minute and reach out to the person that sent it to you and make sure that they actually sent it to you.
Yeah, as a real estate agent, I get targeted with all kinds of emails, fake closing documents, just simple. And they try to keep them as vague and broad as possible, just like, here are your closing documents. And if, like you said, if you're not expecting it, then yeah, you definitely need to be wary of it. Yeah. How prevalent is this ransomware? I hear a lot about it when they lock up your files and you got to pay to get it back. How big of a problem is that right now?
Well, it is a big problem. Ask anybody that's got the virus, because a lot of times there's not a way to undo it. If the company doesn't have good backups, then they end up paying the money to get those files back, and I'm not even sure if 100% of the time you'll get all your files back.
Yeah, well, at least I guess this one that just went around, I guess the fee was like $300 to get your files back. At least they made it manageable. I've heard of something
That's manageable.
Yeah,
I know a gentleman in Tampa. It cost him about $3,000 or $4,000 in fees, and it ended up altogether costing them about $50,000 to get everything.
And they make you pay in Bitcoin, right?
Bitcoin, so that you can't track it. That's how they're being able to keep.
I've been studying that over the last several months, just to kind of wrap my hands around it. I don't know how much you understand about Bitcoin and then that whole application. It's a fascinating thing, but it's an untrackable cryptocurrency.
Yeah,
and,
it is, and that's why these guys are getting away with.
What I find interesting about it, though, is this algorithm that's been written to create currency. That's great, but how do you get people to buy into it and recognize and accept it? The people are accepting it. It's a strange how something electronic caught on in the currency markets.
Yeah, it's something I never bought into. So I don't understand why you would, but there's lots of people out there that have a lot of.
The idea is to decentralize the financial markets and this is something that software engineers are predicting, that by decentralizing these different markets, you can create things such as Bitcoin. They take out the Federal Reserve and the different the banks where money has to pass through, and it's simply a peer-to-peer network that people can accept or not accept it. But it's a fascinating topic. There's an article out recently. If you had invested $100 in Bitcoin in 2010, you'd have $72 million today or something. The investment and the growth in that company has been beyond exponential in this capacity and everything. So, but
it has. Bitcoin's been outlawed in some places, so hasn't it?
It can't be outlawed because it's a global peer-to-peer network. It's just who recognizes who will accept it as currency, and more companies are beginning to accept Bitcoin, like Lamborghini and some of these major companies are now accepting Bitcoin. But it's nothing more than an online currency that's mined by different computers, and the computer is given that's actually another virus that I see out there, the mining virus, where to create a Bitcoin, your computer has to solve a problem. And when it solves a problem, it gets rewarded with a Bitcoin. That's where the Bitcoins come from. They come from mining. And so computers can be hijacked and be used as miners to create these Bitcoins. And so they're constantly processing lots of information. I don't know if you've come across any Bitcoin mining programs.
No, it's not something that I've got a big background with Bitcoin. I've never really bought into it.
Yeah, it is an interesting topic, though. And there's a lot of different cryptocurrencies. That's the leading one, but there's several others as well out there. So interesting to see where things will go. In your business, let's talk about challenges and opportunities for growth. What in those first few years were some of the biggest challenges that you had to overcome?
Well, I think any new business, the challenge is always cash flow. You've got to really know your cash and be careful and mindful with it. Now for us, I think our biggest challenge is finding good people. We've had a lot of growth. I think right now we're actually hiring for 4 different positions here locally in our Clearwater office. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking for a job, reach out to Source One Solutions. Don Billy's our recruiter. Mm-hmm. But now we deal with bigger problems like regulations and taxes. And
how do you deal with the ever-evolving technology market? Every week there's some new application, there's some new program, there's some new hardware piece. How do you keep up with all the changes in technology?
Yeah, look, I think the only way that you can keep up with it is people really have to have a passion for it. I mean, the guys that work with us have labs in their house. I mean, they're constantly tinkering and messing around with stuff that they continually work on. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's been exciting to grow up, in this age of technology, but I wish it had been more stable in my life, because it's like every year I got to buy a new computer, I got to learn this new program. It's like, I'm tired of learning new stuff. Can't we just get something and this is it, and this is how it's always going to be?
Yeah, the manufacturers, plan to make things obsolete to keep you buying it.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, it's just, and I miss the days, because I didn't even start using computers until I was 20, 21. In high school I got my first computer, and I got it to be able to type papers and print it out on a printer. That was the only application I had for it, and I didn't really start to delve into it until my early 20s, and now I wonder how I grew up without it.
I learned in junior high on a typewriter, a traditional typewriter. We didn't have computers in our school at that time.
I did have a Commodore 64 when I was in grade school, but I didn't know what I had it for. I remember there was this little program called Logo, and I would draw different shapes on it, and that was about the only thing I could do. And then once a month I got this computer magazine which had some code that if you typed in, it would draw a picture of a dragon on the screen or something, and I would sit there for an hour typing it in every character like it was supposed to, and it would never work.
Yeah.
It would never do what I wanted it to do. So I just, but I got off of that, I guess. So, but I wish maybe I paid more attention to when I was young. Who knows? Could have been the next big tech guy, I guess. But
I've got a lot of respect for our engineers, man. Those guys are sharp. They've got to spend a lot of time and a lot of diligence keeping up with the technology. It's not easy for them even. But I guess if you're touching it and you're working on it and fixing problems every day, it's hard to get out of touch. So.
Yeah. Well, I enjoy tech. I enjoy learning, and over the last several years, I've taught myself a pretty good bit, but not on your level by any means. I run into problems every day, and like I said, I like it when it's just my problem. If I'm trying to solve somebody else's problem, like, I ain't going to touch any of those settings. I'm afraid of messing something up. So,
yeah.
Well, good discussion. Robert Hessel, Source One Security, based here in Tampa, helping people across 96 different countries. Great business model. Thank you so much for being with me on
Thank
the
you for having
today.
me, Jamie.
And again, learn more, source1security.com, or give them a call, 888-473-4260, 888-473-4260. New episodes of the program each weekday morning, 9 a.m. on thatbusinessnetwork.com. Also find us on iTunes and leave a review and help the show grow. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/thatbusinessshow, and we're on Twitter at thatbizshow. So again, you've been listening to the all-new That Business Show 2.0 with your host, Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business.